Bridges and tunnels. The minutes are in your book. Are there any additions to or corrections of the minutes? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adopt? All those in favor, contrary minded, done. Second, any changes to the work plan?
None.
No change to the work plan. We now go to the President's report.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon and welcome to the V&T meeting. I want to start off talking about revenue. Second to safety and customer service, it's the most important thing that we focus on. The good news is that only a small percentage of V&T's total revenue collection efforts are non-Easy Pass. 95% of it is Easy Pass. However, it's important that we focus on those customers that are not Easy Pass customers. So what I want to do is just share quickly three sort of aspects of our business that point to what we're doing to really focus in on those folks who don't pay us. Enforcement for persistent toll collectors, including the DMV, to suspend New York State registration and summoning and impounding vehicles that can cross our facilities with registrations for toll evasion. So on June 29th, V&T officers at the Bronx Whitestone Bridge impounded the vehicle that was number one on our list. At the time of the stop, the vehicle owner...
I will get to the public speakers right after this. My apologies.
When we stopped this particular vehicle, the owner owed us $32,000 in tolls. What we found is that for those particular entities, because we tow their vehicle and keep their vehicle, they pay us once we catch them, which makes that a very, very powerful tool. And right now, we have impounded the vehicles of more than 1,500 persistent toll violators. That's a very, very important weapon for us. Next, and we talked about this at the last meeting, is enforcing out-of-state exclusionary lists that ban persistent toll violators from B&T facilities. On July 16th, a vehicle with Florida plates was stopped at our Queens Midtown Tunnel because it was barred for toll violation. The driver falsely represented himself as operating a for-hire vehicle and was arrested for driving with a suspended driver's license and suspended for violating the exclusionary order. When the passenger retrieved their luggage, officers discovered more than 75 toll violation notices in the trunk of the vehicle. B&T continues to pursue reciprocity agreements with other states to improve its ability to deter persistent toll violators. And finally, back office ingenuity also helps us deal with people who would set out to not pay. Despite clear images, a number of license plate queries sometimes do not result in hits at the DMV. That is, someone's altered their plate in a manner that when you do a DMV hit, it comes back as a no-hit. One of our auditors detected a pattern for some of these plates and traced them to an automobile manufacturer. We then contacted them, and we're now receiving full payments directly from the company. So again, these are just three techniques that we use to deal with people who would try to not pay us. And these efforts contribute to our overall 101.4% collection rate. We are committed to continuously improving our ability to protect the revenue stream. So with that, I know we have some people who have...
My apologies to the two people who had indicated they had wanted to speak. Mr. Bowden.
All the times I've had a chance to speak here, almost missed the one where I get to compliment you on a fantastic job. I mean, I've questioned the ability of various parts of this institution, and over the last couple of weeks, month, you've come through with world-changing proposals. I've asked about a number of things, and I met with your engineer and with a consultant, and the consultant verified some of the suggestions, and what you've done is changed the entire ball game. It's not me anymore making these suggestions. It's your internationally known consultant, which means all of the rest of the suggestions should now be checked by your consultant. I'm out of the loop. I have no what do you call them? I'm losing the ability to find the right words. That comes with age, and it's not fun. Metro North has been breaking the law with a red box. The law department is now required to have the consultant verify that red box is illegal. There are various other ones. I shall not mention them at this point. It's not useful. It's now in the hands of the law department in every jurisdiction, not my hands. I've made it known. It's now the law department's responsibility to see that it's done. I'm out of here, or at least I'm not making any suggestions anymore. It's all about implementations and how fast you can get it done.
Mr. Bowden, please wrap up.
I'd love to wrap up, and in wrapping up, thank the President, Cedric. You've done a fantastic job. Your team came through with doing things that nobody else was able to do. Your leadership supervised these people that came through and changed the world and made it safer. Cedric, thank you. The only other thing I want to add is what they're doing needs to be publicized to the public. You've created a better situation, a safer situation. Let the public know about it. What you talked about before in the license plates and everything else, they're upset because they see you getting away. I talked to Jose. Let him go out there and do a section on you, Channel 2, 5, and everybody else. And thank you all for listening to me. Hi, Neil. Glad you made it.
Thank you, Mr. Bowden. Omar Vera.
Chuck, you don't have to apologize. I understand that the report had to be given out in the very beginning of the meeting. I understand perfectly, so it's all right. All of you have given years of great work to make our way of life better, even in the face of financial distress. But in any case, welcome to the July meeting of your committee meeting, and I only have two things to add. One, to create walkways, pedestrian walkways, safe ones in tunnels, just like in bridges, and two, to get rid of the tolling at the Cross Bay Bridge, since it's within the borough of Queens. Other than that, you're doing great, and have a happy August recess. I'll see you in finance.
Is that all? Thank you. I guess the next is, may I pause and ask a question on the toll violations report? Is it possible to identify, Ms. Terry, where the predominant number of violators come from, which states?
Yes, Commissioner, it is possible.
I'm sorry?
Yes, it is possible to identify.
The reason I ask is, would you give consideration to the possibility, if they are sufficiently numerous, and if the amount of tolls is sufficiently large to make worthwhile a class action in the federal court to nail them, that will stimulate the states to act if they are sufficient as to numerosity and as to amount of claim.
We will be happy to take that under consideration, Commissioner.
I'm sorry. Report on operations.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good afternoon. The report on operation begins on page 18. The following is a summary of traffic levels compared to the previous year. Total paid traffic increased by 5.6% in May. Preliminary total paid traffic increased by 5.2% in June. For the year to date through May 2018, our officers issued a total of 9.3% more summonses when compared to year to date May 2017, with the largest increases in the following categories: unsafe lane change or failed to signal, speeding, and cell phone violations. This information is found on page 36 of your B&T committee report. May was also the 8th consecutive month of year-over-year improvements in B&T's collision rate. Unless there are questions, this ends the report on operations.
Questions?
Excuse me. If I'm reading this correctly, we are down to 61,000 non-Easy Pass users. I'm on page 23. Is that what that means?
Yes.
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 So, okay.
An average daily.
Average, right,
Yeah, right.
61,000 average daily out of how many a day? Which I'm sure is on one of these other pages,
It's about 860,000 a day, give or take.
give or take.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else? All right. Safety.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good afternoon. The safety report is on page 31, and the following are highlights of our performance indicators. Customer safety metrics indicate some significant improvements. The 12-month average collisions rate decreased for the 8th month in a row, and it was 12% better than in the past 12 months. The 12-month average collisions with injury rate in May was 1.0, or 0.1 collisions per million vehicles, which is higher than the previous 12 months. Employee and contractor safety metrics are also positive. Both employee accident reports and lost time injury rates have improved for the past 12 months compared to the previous 12 months. Lastly, the construction injury rate for the past 12 months is 12.5% better than the previous 12 months and 37.2% better than the 12 months before that. Unless there are any questions or comments, that concludes my safety report.
Mr. Zuckerman.
Just a comment, which is, I guess this has been the 8th month in a row, as Dan said, of improvement on collisions. And traffic's at an all-time high, at least for the forecast period, with the period we're looking at. That is an incredible accomplishment, folks. Please say thanks, at least on behalf of me and this whole board. I see a lot of nodding heads, so on behalf of all of this committee, to your entire staff, because we brought to your attention, we went through a couple different management teams, we landed on Cedric, and I feel like that's been your entire duration, is listening to this and acting on it. So thank you so much, because it's very rewarding, frankly, in a very small way for this group of people to be able to see the kind of progress you've made. And I know the driving public appreciates it too. So thank you very much for that. It's great work.
I have an amazing team. I really do.
Cashless tolling.
Thank you. The May 2018 report on cashless tolling begins on page 37. May highlights are on pages 38 and 39 and include our overall EasyPass market share, which is at 94.6%, up 5.9 points from the year before. Our revenue collection rates by facility through May 2018 are shown on table 6 on page 42. In total, the combined collection rate for all facilities that went live through November 2017 is at 101.4%. Our customer outreach efforts continue to yield positive results. An important goal of these efforts is to sign up customers for mobile alerts so that they can be notified if their EasyPass balance is low and of other important account issues. More than 80,000 customers have enrolled in mobile alerts programs since March, which is a 26% increase. This concludes the report on cashless tolling.
I have one question, and that is this. When someone has a problem with their EasyPass, whether it be in terms of a loss of it or some other problem involving them, to try and get through to those folk who run EasyPass can sometimes be a nightmare. I note that you indicate that they have now returned to the contract acceptable level. I would strongly recommend spot checking periodically because I have never heard of a person who said they got through in 45 seconds.
Okay, we'll do that. Thank you.
Any other questions, Mr. Zuckerman?
Can you confirm for me, page 42, please? Clearly, cashless tolling was predicated on getting basically a bit of over 100%, getting to 100% when you net out the scofflaws with the fees.
Yes.
Are these 100+% numbers inclusive of actual receipts, or these are the projected receipts we'd get if people paid the fines?
This is actual receipts.
Okay, thank you.
And that's a hell of a tribute.
Okay, the financial report.
Anyone else? Financial report.
The financial report for May begins on page 45. We are comparing results against the adopted budget for the last time. Next month will be against the mid-year. Total revenue year-to-date in May was $775.8 million, which is 3.5%, or $25.9 million better than budget. Year-to-date traffic in May was 121.2 million crossings, up against budget by 4.7%, or 5.7 million crossings. The total expenses that we have is $195.5 million through May, which is about $31.9 million, or 14% lower than planned. Our support to mass transit was $469.1 million through May, which is $61.7 million, or 15.1% better than planned. This concludes the financial report.
Any questions? Thank you. Capital program.
Good afternoon. The report on the capital program begins on page 59. In June, B&T awarded 17 commitments totaling $72.1 million. The most significant commitments made in June were for $38.5 million for the Anchorage and Pier rehabilitation of the Verrazano Narrows Bridge, and a $20.7 million for the construction management services for the replacement of the Throgs Neck suspended spans. In aggregate, 66 commitments totaling $146 million, or 254.3 of the year-to-date plan, has been awarded. In June, there was one project completion for the replacement of the Morris Street pedestrian bridge over the Ucari Tunnel for $13.4 million. Year-to-date, B&T has completed 5 projects with a total value of $759.4 million, achieving 177% of the year-to-date goal of $432.7 million and a 53% of our annual completion goal of $1.43 billion. Unless there are any questions, this completes the report on the capital program.
Questions?
I was just going to say that the problem with cashless tolling is that we don't have enough lanes on the Cross Island Parkway. Because the problem now is you get over the bridge so quickly, and you get to the Cross Island and you stop. Okay? Throgs Neck, he knows where I go. That's the problem. That's the problem at the moment, is you go over the bridge and you get to the Cross Island and you stop. Because everybody is getting over the bridge so quickly that the traffic is concentrated together, and you basically crawl from the bridge to the LIE. That doesn't help that much, because then you're 3 exits further down in that regard. So well, listen, we have an integrated system. We've tremendously impacted ours, but it does impact others in a different way than we ever might have thought about it.
We do. And that's why we continue to work with our partners to look at the roadways that are adjacent to our facilities, because we get that the toll plaza created a natural metering effect.
Right.
And we fully anticipated that the pinch points are going to shift and move based on that. It becomes now a question of looking at the new location and finding solutions, whether it's traffic engineer solution or capital investment solution, which will then help us. Because it truly is a regional problem.
Yeah. That's exactly what's happening.
All right. Procurements.
Good afternoon. Procurements start on page 67. There are no non-competitive procurements or ratifications. There is one competitive procurement action this month.
Could you speak into the microphone?
Sure. There's one competitive procurement action this month, which is a public work modification at the Verrazano Narrows Bridge associated with the replacement of the coil springs at the finger joints and other work in the negotiated amount of $1,421,871. Unless there are any questions, this procurement is described in detail in the enclosed staff summary.
Question. Mr. Greenberg.
Yes, I'm a little unclear on the finger joint replacement. These finger joint bolt assemblies, were they put in and later discovered to be defective, or these things that were later discovered to be worn out over time?
It was we installed stainless steel springs at these finger joints, and those were found to be defective, so we part of this change order, we replaced them with polyurethane.
Oh. As part of this contract, the springs were put in, found to be defective, and now
Correct.
they have to be replaced.
Right.
And it says you're looking for an errors omission for the designer. Does that mean the design of the original springs? It's believed the design of the original springs is inadequate.
Correct.
For this bridge, so
That's
now
why
we
we're
have to
pursuing-
replace them all.
That's why we're pursuing.
Right. That's why we're
errors.
pursuing the. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I see. So it's a defective installation, defective product that we're. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions on the motion to adjourn? Oh, all those in favor of the procurement? Contrary-minded? Done. This is not my day for remembering. As Mr. Bowden is wont to say, getting older is not for sissies. Thank you.